I had a family, they came from a like rural community in Mexico, and they speak a dialect, and the family that I worked with had told us in very numerous ways. And it's unfortunate because I feel like sometimes people I don't want to say don't try to listen, but they don't, um, take the time, to listen to what parents are actually needing, right? So they had a child that had Down syndrome, that was born and couldn't walk, and they were referred through their pediatrician, which typically is what happens in the community. The pediatrician sometimes will refer them to early intervention services. Early intervention will call, check in with parents, do their own set of evaluations, and see if they qualify. Typically, that's what should happen. Sometimes I do get that, and it doesn't happen, right? So then the student doesn't come up on our radar until they're 5 years old and they're in kindergarten. So they missed out on 5 years of services that could have been provided to them, to help them, be successful and develop, over time. But sometimes, often, I feel like the barrier is the referral, right? So this family was referred, which was great, but then they encountered a lot of obstacles, right? One of them sometimes winds up being is transportation, for families. So when they're ages 0 to 3 through early intervention, a lot of the therapists come to the house, and they provide more home based, and it's more like family focused. They listen to the parents. Sometimes what's great is they'll refer them to like a neuropsych appointment. Some of the places that take, public insurance are far for parents. So sometimes that winds up being an obstacle for parents because having to get there and then having to think about I'm driving, I'm undocumented, but I have to take my child, that has special needs to an appointment, and the appointment is really far. So some parents are able to do it, and then there are some parents that are not, and then I feel bad because those are the parents sometimes that I feel we miss the boat because they're unable to get to the place. Then they miss out on these assessments that could have, I don't want to say give us a clearer picture, but assessments that would have been important for that child, for that parent to know, right? Especially when it comes to things related to any specific delay, or anything health related. Sometimes children that have Down syndrome have like a heart condition, so it needs to be monitored. It may not be something really, but it still needs to be monitored by a specialist, so by a cardiologist. So parents have, right, all these appointments that could also be very overwhelming. So when they're with early intervention, sometimes early intervention will work with parents, follow up with parents, and I've worked with my parents with following up with doctors because sometimes their barrier is someone that speaks their language to set an appointment, for their child. And so then it's working with parents to help them set those appointments, and parents didn't know too, like I didn't know until I submitted a waiver, but parents could qualify for a fee waiver due to financial hardship, which is what the family was experiencing. So instead of, helping the parents by providing the financial support that SSI was supposed to do, they just stopped payment and waited until they accrued the $3,000 that the parents supposedly owed them, which is really unfortunate because during that time too, the dad fell behind, the family fell behind on bills, too. And then their focus really wasn't on like all these other, like school and all those other things. Their focus was on, we need to have a roof over our head, we need to have food, we need to have all these things that we need, to live our lives, right? So I think that's where I feel sometimes the systems could do a better job, but or they could get better in strengthening, those interactions with people that they're actually helping.